This is Molly Hemingway, encouraging you to listen to my favorite podcast, Issues, Etc. Every day you get in-depth interviews with host Todd Wilkin asking expert guests substantive, thought-provoking questions on all of the important news and issues of our day. The expert guests are in culture, law, ethics, philosophy, theology, and apologetics. Expert guests, expansive topics, always extolling Christ. Issues, etc.
People talk about one step forward and two steps back. Well, maybe the case of federal funding for Planned Parenthood was one step forward and then just one step back where we began with Planned Parenthood getting taxpayer dollars. Part of it has to do with the will of our politicians, and part of it has to do with some real policy changes, maybe a political victory for the pro-life cause. Welcome back to Issues, Etc. I'm Todd Wilkin. Joining us to talk about federal funding for Planned Parenthood, Dr. Michael New. He's visiting assistant professor of social research and political science at the Catholic University of America, senior associate scholar at the Charlotte Lozier Institute, Paige Comstock Cunningham Fellow with Americans United for Life, and a columnist for National Review Online. Dr. New, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
Why did the federal ban on Planned Parenthood funding expire?
Well, what happened is last year they were able to stop Planned Parenthood from getting federal funding for the 2026 fiscal year. And that fiscal year has now ended, and we're now in fiscal year 2027, and Congress failed to extend that defund. So that's why Planned Parenthood is now eligible for federal funding.
What kind of federal money is now available to Planned Parenthood?
The main source of money they can get now is money through federal Medicaid dollars. When they do various health procedures, they can now get reimbursement, federal Medicaid dollars. There's some contraception programs that are funded by the federal government they can also get money from, but their main source of federal funding is through Medicaid.
What could Congress still do about this?
Congress could still extend the defund. I mean, they could still pass legislation that would stop the federal government from funding Planned Parenthood for the rest of the fiscal year. That's what many pro-lifers would like to see happen, or to keep putting pressure on them. I mean, right now they're eligible for federal funds, but we do have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, a Republican in the White House. They could pass another bill that would extend this defund. We just have to wait and see.
Was the one-year defunding an important political victory?
Yes, it was. I mean, if you remember 20, 30 years ago, defunding Planned Parenthood was a niche issue. Planned Parenthood's approval rating was sky high, and only a small group of pro-lifers cared about this. But we went to work. There was very good research and investigation done by people like Lila Rose of Live Action and David Leiden of the Center for Medical Progress. They did a great job exposing a lot of the misconduct that Planned Parenthood is engaged in. That really did turn public opinion against Planned Parenthood, at least among Republicans, conservatives, and pro-lifers, and the defund became a reality. So something we thought was impossible 20 years ago actually did happen.
Was it also an important policy victory?
Yeah, a lot of good did come out of the defund. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, 57 Planned Parenthoods closed since January of last year. So we've seen 57 Planned Parenthood closures. That means there's fewer people working in the abortion industry, fewer abortions taking place. Getting that many closed is an important victory for us.
How did this establish a new standard for Republican elected officials on the issue of abortion?
Well, essentially something that we can now expect from Republicans, that we had a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican president who did this, and the next time we do have Republicans in control of Congress and the presidency, we can just point to what happened in calendar year 2025 and say, look, you passed a defund back then. If you could do it back then, you should be able to do it today. So we're just expecting more out of Republicans, and essentially we think that if they were to pass a defund previously, is what we can expect them to do in the future.
Do you expect any Planned Parenthood centers to reopen?
It's conceivable, but not likely. Keep in mind, there's been kind of a downward trajectory on the number of brick-and-mortar Planned Parenthood facilities for a long time. That was accelerated because of the defund. But keep in mind, Planned Parenthood realizes they can no longer count on getting federal taxpayer dollars as a source of income. Large entities have to kind of think long-term. They don't make short-term decisions. So the fact they know that federal dollars may not be consistent, I think, is a pretty good indication that they probably won't reopen a lot of these closed facilities.
Do you think that the Republican post-ob wariness on the abortion issue as a political issue has worn off?
To some extent, I think Republicans have quit being scared. I think they've done some good things since President Trump was inaugurated. I mean, President Trump did pardon pro-lifers who were kind of faced unfair punishments under the FACE Act. They did approve the Hyde Amendment. They did approve the Mexico City policy. They are doing some good things. This defund kind of slipped through our fingers a bit. It was some combination of other priorities and a combination of having some smaller margins in both the House and Senate. I'd like to see the Republicans do more, but I don't think they're as scared of the abortion issue as they were a few years ago.
Do you think that there's a path to permanently defunding Planned Parenthood?
That's going to be a very tough climb. I mean, abortion and Planned Parenthood plow a lot of money in the Democratic Party, and when Democrats take over, they are going to make sure that Planned Parenthood is eligible for federal funds. We've made some good headway in many states, and I think we'll do well when Republicans are controlling the House, Senate, and the presidency. Again, the fact that Planned Parenthood can no longer rely on federal revenues is an important victory. A permanent defund is going to be tough. I think it's going to require a big change in the Democratic Party, and that's going to be a while for that to happen.
Dr. Michael New is a visiting assistant professor of social research and political science at the Catholic University of America. He's senior associate scholar at the Charlotte Lozier Institute, Page Comstock Cunningham Fellow with Americans United for Life, and a columnist for National Review Online. You can read his columns on the podcast page for this episode at issuesetc.org. Dr. New, thanks.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
The Lutheran Church Missouri Synod values all human life from conception to natural death. LCMS Life Ministry speaks up for life, cares for people in body and soul, and teaches about the sanctity of human life. Learn more at lcms.org/life, lcms.org/life. We'll go through listener email, the Issues Etc. comment line next.
The church's music from the 2nd century.
Shepherd of tender youth, guiding in love and truth.
The 6th century. The 12th century. The 16th century. The 21st century. The best of the church's music from the past 2,000 years. LutheranPublicRadio.org.
Defending life from beginning to end. You're listening to Issues, Etc.
Lutherans for Life assists for-life Christians in offering the hope and help of the good news of Jesus Christ to women with an untimely pregnancy, women, men, and families suffering under the guilt of an abortion, young people with questions and concerns about sexuality, and the elderly and those with disabilities or terminal illnesses. Learn more about LFL resources and forming a life team or life chapter, or becoming a life advocate by calling 888-364-LIFE. That is 888-364-5433, or by visiting lutheransforlife.org.
Criticism.
Thank God that it's 5:01 and the show is over.
Commendation.
I am not a Lutheran, but I regularly listen to Issues, Etc., and thank you for putting this on the air.
Conundrum.
A Catholic friend has come to our LCMS church, and he said, "Why do you say very God, a very God?" And I couldn't think of a good answer.
The Issues Etc. comment line, 618-223-8382.